Welcome on in. Welcome on in. I forget that the live stream thumbnail is me every time as Thor for Halloween. I always forget that. So I see it and I'm just like, oh, it's probably not what I want as the thumbnail for our Utah Blockcast live stream on YouTube. On YouTube, at least. Let me get this shared to the proper channels. We'll get going here. All right. Welcome on in to the Utah Blockcast. I'm Steve Bartle, Utah insider for KSL Sports. That's Josh Bennett joining me tonight. Josh, man, how you doing, dude?
I'm good. Excited to watch this team play another game of football. Hopefully see things get back on track. Another opportunity to watch a game at Rice Eccles Stadium, a night game. Par for the course this season. There's rain on the forecast in there somewhere. Just hopefully not as bad and as cold as the last one. How about you?
Yeah,
man?
I agree. Yeah, no, it's been a week for me. Yeah, it's been a grind. So flight out to Kansas City, Big 12 media days for basketball. It was a lot of fun to be out there, and man, gained a lot of appreciation for the basketball scene out there in Kansas. Man, they love their hoops for Kansas State. Huge media representation there for those two programs, and yeah, it was really cool to kind of see that up close. And obviously with Kansas, like that basketball program is storied in history and tradition, so it makes sense. But Kansas State, even like, man, they just had a conglomerate of folks out there, so that was cool to get out there and be there for that. But obviously, we got business to take care of tonight with football. So obviously, this week it's Colorado week. Coach Prime coming back to Salt Lake City. Buffs are coming off of a bye week and a nice little win going into the bye week against Iowa State. I thought that was a pretty valuable one at the moment, at the time, and then obviously going into the bye week on a win, that's always a big plus. So, the Buffs are going to be coming into this one feeling good, feeling optimistic, and they're have plenty of reason to do that. So this is going to be a tough test, but obviously Utah looking to get back into the win column this week. So a lot to get into tonight. Talking about the rest of the season, kind of the big picture, where Utah goes from here. We'll talk the matchups and sort of the breakdown of this game and how these two teams match up as well, and then get into our over-under predictions and some Q&A from the chat tonight. So looking forward to that. But yeah, man, this is an important one for Utah. I would just be curious, Bennett, your thoughts real quick before we welcome on our special guest here.
Yeah, no, it's all about not losing twice to the team down south. Can't get beat twice. Can't feel bad for yourself. Can't let that linger. Just have to get back on the saddle, control what you can, and I'm ready to get into this, talk about it, and yeah.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's welcome on special guest, somebody I never feel bad for. Our guy Drew. Drew, what's up, man?
Oh, I'm so good, guys. How are you doing today?
Dude, you just bring the vibes, man. The vibes, the energy, the positivity. You are about it. You are a living embodiment of those words.
So, some guy, always has to be the vibe guy. And there's times where I'm not, and hopefully I am most of the time, but someone's got to be it, So thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate you hopping on. Obviously, would love to be talking about different things coming off of a loss last week, but I think you are just the right guy to help us with the conversation tonight. So I'd be curious, obviously with me being a media member, I don't get to process things the same way that you guys do, being fans and all of that. So, and for me, like I said earlier, it's been a busy week, so I didn't even really have time to kind of digest and break down the game and sort of process, Utah's loss the way I typically do. But I would be curious just to hear from you guys how you handled last week's loss and what you did to get back on the right track.
Oh man, it's I had a high school coach. He was always like, "Hey, celebrate the wins." That night of the loss, like, be emotional about it, and then the next day, like, it's time to move on. And so we jumped on I-15 leaving Provo, and we were right next to the team the entire way northbound, and we could kind of see the team with their heads down a little bit. So it was kind of tough, but then I think it's the small things in life that kind of bring back a positive spirit. And luckily, as a fan, there's not much we can do. We could complain all we want, we could cheer all we want. It's just it's more fun to be on the cheering side and the positive side than the alternative. And I've been caught both ways. I'll raise my hand. But yeah, it's DB, one of my best friends, he said it best. It's just like, hey, when you have a good tailgate, you have a good day, no matter the outcome, you still had a really good day. What's better than hanging with the boys, the families, having some good food, kicking back, watching some football. So that's what we did on Saturday, and we had a really good time. So appreciate you stopping by too, man.
Yeah, definitely stopped by. Had to take in the vibes and the scene before kickoff, and you guys were definitely having a good time for sure, man. Those cheddar brats were something else.
Man, I think I had 5 of those that day. Not good.
It was a rough night in many ways.
Yeah, exactly. I proud to say it was the biggest tailgate in Provo last weekend. You kind of caught us when there was like 8 of us, but it got busy quick.
I showed up early.
Yeah.
No, but you guys were great. Offering waters to everybody walking by, running by, whatever it was. You guys were great. Great tailgate.
Yeah, it was a good time. We definitely got our fair share of heckles in, but it was a good time.
Bennett, how about you, man? How'd you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about talking about it. The quicker you can talk about it, the more you can talk about it, the easier it is to get over it. So from the post-game space to the weekend recap episode that we recorded on Sunday, talking about it, talking through it, that's what helps me digest a game like that. Went to breakfast on Sunday morning with the 2 boys and father-in-law, and my father-in-law is an absolute football junkie. He's a fellow Dolphins fan. That's why we get along so well. We can commiserate there. But I wouldn't call him a Utah Utes fan. He roots for Utah because he knows, my situation, but wouldn't call him a Utah fan. So I always rely on him to shoot me straight. And we sit down at breakfast, and the first thing he says is something along the lines of, Utah shouldn't have lost that game. He's like, you guys beat yourselves. He's like, it's that one really stung to watch Utah lose because I felt you're the better team. And I know there will be people that hate that, and we'll call that a cope or whatever. But yeah, I grabbed onto that because you can feel a little bit of that. There's a lot of moments where Utah could grab that. So I don't feel like Utah sucks. I felt like the loss sucked. Drew, that's kind of your mentality. There's a difference between you can suck, or you could say that your team sucked, or you could say that your team sucks. And I don't feel like Utah sucks. They lost a close game to a pretty good BYU team and had every opportunity to win it. So it's on to the next one. And you can't win a championship every year.
Be curious, have you guys subscribed to any analytics sites since the game, or do we think that stock is going to take a hit, the analytics in college football?
Oh man, I follow PFF a little bit. I don't subscribe to anything, but it seems like we were true to the analytics that game, and I feel like sometimes just got to play my gut feeling, but kind of crazy.
Yeah, what do you think of those decisions?
Look, it was 4th and 1. We drove down the field. What was it, 80 yards at the time? Mm-hmm. We've been killing it in the red zone at 4th and 1. So I agree. Go for it there.
Yeah.
I could definitely see some question marks around the 4th and 4 and the 4th and 7. But I get, man, we have a young freshman kicker, and that's a lot to put on him. And so coaches went with, hey, what's been working for us, and our offense has been working. We just came up short. So
yeah, it was interesting, and I think you can point to a handful of plays right in this game, and I think that's important to keep in mind, right, as we're talking about processing the feelings and the emotions of the game. Like it feels so much worse coming off the loss as a fan to see your favorite team lose a game like that, an emotional game, but it's still, and it feels like it's the end of the world sometimes, right? And I think it's important to keep in mind that it still just boils down to a handful of plays in each and every contest. And this one, we can debate, a handful of decisions, whether they be coaching decisions, whether they be player decisions, and how that impacted the game. But we're still talking about a select few number of plays that can impact a game, and I think that's really important to keep in mind. So, I'd be curious with you guys, how does Utah bounce back from a loss like this? Like how do you guys think they're going to react? How do you feel like their ability to bounce back this week? How confident do you feel in that ability for them to bounce back?
Yeah, I'll start this one off. Thanks, Bennett. If there's one thing that screams Utah football, it's Kyle Whittingham, and we know how Kyle Whittingham works. It's 1 week at a time. Yeah. We're not going to get into the whole if we go 10-2 and we got to hope for some losses, we could get to Arlington. You just got to focus on Colorado, because if you're looking down the road and you slip up, then your chances are going out the window. I mean, 2022. We're in the same situation, right? We had to beat Colorado. We needed Oregon State to win. We needed, was it Washington or Wazoo to win? And if we would have slipped up against Colorado, we wouldn't have been there. And we ended up getting another Pac-12 championship out of it. So you just got to do that as a fan. For me, I'm just looking at tailgate. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, chat came through. Freaking Swoop Dog, dude.
Oh, Swoop Dog. Love that, dude.
Sorry.
Can't wait to see that. No.
Yeah.
Again, I'm just looking forward. We got 3 more home games. That's 3 more days of tailgating, 3 more days, in Rice Eccles. I've had opportunities to leave the state for work and family and do everything, but they don't have Rice Eccles. That's what's keeping me here.
That's a good point.
I'm just excited to be back up there, and hopefully the players and the coaches are kind of thinking the same thing. So,
yeah. Ben, what about you? What you think?
Yeah, kind of already started to touch on it, but can't dwell too much on what happened last Saturday. Gotta, hopefully the players and the coaches, they took that Saturday night and maybe that Sunday to work through those feelings, feel bad about what happened. But Monday, hopefully they came into practice. They went to work pissed off, ready to play. Hopefully the intensity in practice matched that. The team needs to still be hungry and determined, because there's still a lot up for grabs. Can't quit on each other. Can't quit on the season. This is the time of year where things get weird on the outside, and phones start ringing to maybe family members or agents. Like, you got to block everything out, focus on what's in front of you, and just go out there and have fun, and take it 1 week at a time, and see what happens in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And to your point earlier, it's important for Utah football, and this is something that they do. They've talked about this over the last couple of years, is, they take the 24 hours to process things, to talk through things, to talk through the successes, the mistakes, and to, process the emotions that they're feeling. I think that's important for these guys, right? You don't want these emotions to linger. It's a tough loss. It's a really tough loss for a couple guys. You want them to be able to flush it all out, to feel, everything they're going to feel emotionally, and to flush it. And I think that's going to be the big key. And then, as you do that in the first couple of days, right, the first 24, 48 hours, then you start to turn the page to Colorado, and you set goals throughout practice, right? Getting them to reset their mindsets on the work and the task at hand. And I think that's sort of the process that Utah's established, and that's going to be key for them this week, because obviously Colorado coming in, They're going to be coming off a bye, feeling refreshed, and looking to get after Utah, who they probably view as a wounded duck right now. But for Utah, you like the matchup, how it looks analytically, and you're going to feel. But again, you got to take care of your business. So I'd be curious, just your thoughts, guys, in terms of the big picture, right? What's still left for Utah to shoot for this season, right? It feels like 2 losses now, kind of going to need some help. But I would just be curious your thoughts and your thought process on the rest of the season for Utah. Then I'll let you go first.
Yeah. No, I was gonna let the guest grab the first dish first, but I don't mind leading off. Still up for grabs. I mean, the season goal, Utah's kind of got itself to a position where the expectation is to compete for conference championships year in and year out and end up with a spot to compete for something bigger. So that's the expectation coming into this season. While that's still up for grabs, need to at least find some momentum. I think momentum's the biggest thing that's up for grabs when you think of the world that we live in now with NIL and the transfer portal. Going into December with some momentum is huge. Last year, Utah was able to skate by with some brand recognition, some of that, this was a down year and stuff like that. If Utah limps into the off season with another losing season, it's going to be harder to get some of those guys to buy in and join the program. So 10-2 is nothing to balk at. That's a good season, whether you make it to Arlington or not. But just win, let the cards fall. And then obviously there's the big one, right? You got a long time head coach, don't really know exactly what his plans are. You know that he's in the twilight of his career. You know that sunset is on the horizon. You want to see Kyle get that. You want to see Kyle get that happy ending, so he can feel good about maybe passing it off to Morgan Scalley. If it gets weird, and then it gets weird, right? And we don't want to even have to start to entertain some of that. So a lot of momentum, a lot of legacy, and things like that. And then again, Big 12 title's still there, albeit not in Utah's control. Just win the games and let the cards fall as they may.
Drew, I'd be curious. I'll ask you this. You referenced the 2022 season, and obviously that season was kind of a unique one. 2021, the year before, was pretty unique as well, because both seasons had stretches where you were able to just kind of forget any and all expectations. Like, what does that sort of do for you as a fan, with what, 5 games left on the schedule? Like, just letting go of those expectations and just enjoying the product.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, not only that, but we went to the Pac-12 championship in 2018, 2019, and then then COVID hit. That was a weird year, and then boom, 21, 22. So we have high expectations. Probably why the season ticket prices are insane for Rice Eccles. But it is hard to let go losses, especially the way we lost the last 2 years. The team down south is tough. Yeah. Was it 23 when Oregon came in and just beat the brakes off of us? I handled that loss way better than I did the last two losses. So it's tough, guys. But hey, this isn't the NFL. You don't get a higher draft pick if you lose more games. And so to get the best players, you got to win more games, and think what another 9 or 10 win season could do for recruiting and could do for NIL wise. And so that's what you got to look forward to. And again, it's Colorado. It's no one else but Colorado this week. So sure. just gotta go 1-0.
Yeah, go 1-0. And I think it's going to be important, and not to like make it more than go 1-0 this week, but I think getting to 8-9 wins is still very, very possible. That was my preseason projection. I went back and forth between the two, but that's still very much in play for Utah the rest of the way. And I think that's going to be pretty important for Utah to get to those benchmarks, right? I think getting to 8 or 9 wins with a bowl opportunity is going to be really, really important for Utah and for the future of the program as well, to kind of get back riding the ship, right, to turn things around from the previous 2 seasons and you do that by taking it 1 week at a time. So, Drew, you talked about the Colorado matchup this week. You're just kind of referencing it. What are your thoughts on Coach Prime? Like, dude, I'll tell you. Like, dude, I'll tell you. So, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was there in 2018. I was there in 2020, which was so stupid to be there during COVID. It was awful. Worst experience of my life. They had open press box in the middle of December in Boulder, Colorado, and no heater. The press box is built from like the 60s and it hasn't been touched since, dude. So I'm like open window, 20 degrees out, and I'm freezing. Anyways, but the atmosphere there, dead. It wasn't much different between 2020 and 2018, dude. There was nobody there in 2018. But then being there last year with Coach Prime and seeing that place packed, like it's been crazy to see the difference that he's made. So I'd be curious your thoughts as a fan and seeing that from afar. And obviously the Rumble and the Rockies, a heated rivalry, as we all know. Like, just what are your thoughts on Coach Prime, man?
Yeah, I mean, this is our one rivalry game this year. So
the only one.
The
one that matters this
week. This is a big one.
This is.
No, it's Lincoln Riley came into town too, and it was kind of like, high tides raise all ships, and kind of the same thing with Prime. It was Colorado, they weren't good, and that's okay. And so it's fun to have like a relevant program again, and they're a tough out. So
yeah.
I love what Prime's doing. The money that came into Boulder is insane.
Dude, it's nuts.
I haven't been to Boulder yet, and I know we're there next year. So that's kind of circled on our list because I don't know how much longer Prime's going to be there. So kind of want to get there before he bounces. But yeah, I love what he's doing. He's great at it. He's a hype guy, man. So
he is, dude. Yeah, he's great. And I think too, like he's brought a lot of eyeballs on the Big 12, or at least Colorado for sure, which has been helpful. So
yeah.
But what are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead. Drew.
I was gonna say, aren't they leading the Big 12 in viewerships right now?
Oh yeah.
So that's 3 years in a row he's done that. So
yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Big numbers.
No, I actually really like I like Dion. I'm gonna call him Dion. I called him Dion my whole life. I'm not a big nickname guy. I'll call you your last name, and that's about it. But I like Dion. I like watching Colorado a lot more. I feel like they're a lot easier to root for now that Schroeder's out of the picture. He kind of was a little too flashy for me. Not a big fan there of his game and his attitude.
Drew is all about the watch me. Drew is all about it, dude.
Yeah.
I got nothing. Sorry, guys.
But no, I want Coach Prime. I'll give him his respect. I want him to put it together. I think that'd be cool. I think that's a good storyline and all of that. When you hear him talk about his players and things like that, like that's the stuff that kind of moves you, right? And so I like him, and they're a lot more palatable now that it's gone. With that being said, I hope he's miserable on Saturday.
Well, what's funny? I was reading a story from Colorado, one of their sites, and they're actually preparing for a miserable experience. They're preparing like they're going to be down 7-0 from the jump. So that was an interesting story to read, was kind of their preparation, and I think that's just making fun of them for doing that, but that's sort of their mentality coming into this game, is they're going to have to fight through adversity. And, this game is a pretty unique one, obviously, given the fact that it is coming off the rivalry game. How do you guys feel like the scene is going to be up at Rice Eccles on Saturday with the striped stadium too? Which, by the way, can we talk about this? The striped stadium. Just Drew. I mean, you're kind of with the vibe right now. The black and white, with the red and white shirt. Like you're kind of embracing the mishmash of stripes here.
Oh man. Yeah, I love the idea of the striped stadium. I think it's a cool shot. The black and red's a sweet change, but then seeing the uniforms that came out, I was like, whoa, why don't we do little white and red? But I mean, it's going to be cold. I feel like all my warm stuff is black, so it actually really helped me. So I don't have to go buy some white coats. And
I was thinking about that. Just everybody showing up in white coats. It's kind of a weird look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I mean, we'll have the fans that come in the green jackets, yellow jackets. Who gives a crap? So, but yeah, it's I love it. Keeps the fans interactive, and looking forward to the dark mode game too. So if that's even happening, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I hope so.
We'll see. Somebody on Twitter called that out and was like, it'd be really sweet to stripe the stadium with black and red. And I took that. I was like, this would be awesome. You're on to something. And like, didn't think there's any way that it would happen because red and white is what Utah has done. And then all of a sudden you see the black and red come out and it's like, this is awesome. So I'm sitting there thinking, is it going to be the black tops and bottoms or the red tops and bottoms with the alternate color in the middle? And then you get the red, you get the white stack, which is a beautiful uniform combo. This is the only scenario you'll ever hear me complain about such a clean setup, but it just didn't make sense. It made about as much sense as wearing white pants and a red out. And I like to joke that Utah football is at its best when we're nitpicking the uniforms, and we nitpicked them for the red out game, and that was a good little result. We were really happy with the uniform setups for the game down Provo, and not so happy with the results. So I'm happy to be that everybody's nitpicking what's going on, because that means good results on the way.
Man, yeah, dude, they had it right there on a silver platform. Just go with those black throwbacks. Like, man, they had it right there. Right there.
I think one of the last times we wore like a black red combo at home was that Kalen Clay drop fumble against Oregon.
Oh, come on.
So
come
maybe it's a good thing.
Dude.
All right, guys.
Okay, fair.
It's a good thing.
You say that we were happy. We were probably happy with that uniform combo. That's probably what happened.
Oh yeah, we were thrilled with it.
Talk about processing a loss. That was a tough one to process after that.
14-0 to 7-7. Just like that.
Man, dude, just like that.
I was in the must when that happened, and the cannon went off, and I was pretty much crowd surfing up to the top, and then
they were just tossing around like a beach ball.
Oh yeah. I got down quick. What's going on? So.
Yeah, dude, that was before I was an unbiased media member, and I've never eaten so much Little Caesars pizza in my sorrows after the game, dude. I was down in the garlic sauce with the pizza, dude. I was drowning in it. It was a rough night.
The celebration on that, setting the ball down before you cross the end zone. The celebration on that, the next closest thing to it was the Jackson Benny touchdown that got called back this season against Texas Tech. It was like, it felt like that had all happened. The celebration, the high fives, everything goes on, and then all of a sudden you start to look at the field and you're like, oh
wait, there's yellow on the field.
Dirty laundry.
There's laundry. Oh man, dude, that was rough. Yeah, man. Ben, what are your thoughts on Colorado? Just the matchup. What do you want to see this week?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of talent. They've got a decent offensive line that'll give Caden Salter some time to put some things together. He's a guy that can beat you with his arm. He's got some good receivers, no Jordan Tyson types, but he's got some playmakers that he can throw to. And then also, if he's got nothing there and you're not playing discipline, he can beat you with his legs and get out there. He had a great game against Iowa State, so he's got some confidence. He's had 2 weeks to prepare for this one. Colorado's no slouch. You look at a lot of their team statistics, they look really bad, but they've played in some close ones this season. And again, they've had 2 weeks to rest up, get ready. They know what kind of opponent they're going against, and they're going to be looking to prove something in Salt Lake on Saturday. So Utah absolutely needs to bring it or could get caught off guard.
Drew, what do you want to see?
I want to see us pissed off. I want to come out swinging right out of the gate. I want to jump on them early, 14-0, and never look back. So I don't want to be sitting there third quarter like, oh, man, I hope we pull this out. Kind of hope it's like that Arizona State game. And I think we got some pissed off coaches and players right now. So I mean, we saw at West Virginia, so kind of this. I'm hoping for the same thing.
Yeah. What about the vibes? What about tailgate Saturday? How excited are you to get back there?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. Dude, that's like my temple, man. It's my place. We typically get up there at 7 a.m. for breakfast, and we're there all day. So, got to jet out for a kid's soccer game halfway through the day. But those brats better be on the barbecue, DB, if you're listening. So, by the time I get back.
Love it, dude. Well, dude, any parting thoughts before we say goodbye here?
Can I ask one question?
Oh yeah, Bennett. Go ahead.
You want me to ask this question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Hey,
scared.
Drew.
I'm so
Drew,
scared.
Drew, what's the craziest thing you've ever done during a prayer?
Oh man.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
Who hasn't kicked field goals during the prayer? Okay.
Yeah. First of all, that. I mean, I bullied my sister a lot during family prayers. I mean, the things I was doing to a cougar tail during the prayer last week.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I was eating it.
Where was the video of that?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Cougar tail. We'll just leave it there.
Oh man.
How about the space after hours? I'll go in a little more detail. So
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, man. Good deal. Man, I don't know if I should share that story now that I think about it. I have a story for my mission that I probably shouldn't share, but anyways, I'll share it. I was with a companion. I was like 3 months into my mission. I don't know what I was doing, right? And he was a couple months away from going home, and man, he was ready to go home. And so this was like 20 years ago almost now. Good grief. I am so freaking old. Anyways, we're with family and we're having prayer before dinner. And dude had an iPod and he had these farting noises on his iPod and he just lets one fly during the prayer. And dude, it was a doozy of a fart noise. I'll say that. And the mom perks up after the prayer and she grabs the elder's hand and she looks at him and she says, "Elder, I'm so sorry for my son. He just has no manners." And I just looked at him. I was like, "No, dude, what are you doing?" And he was busting up. He couldn't believe it, dude. Framed him, dude. So like kicking field goals versus framing a kid during a prayer that they're hosting us for dinner as a missionary, dude.
Yeah.
Kick your field goals, man.
It's almost like he had 17 cheddar jalapeno brats that was sitting in there all day and he was letting go during a prayer.
Yeah, dude, that's what it was, man. It was 5 cheddar jalapeno brats just on the machine. Good grief, dude. So yeah, I feel for Dylan Curtis. These guys, they have routines, they have a process that they go through. It's unfortunate what's happened, but he owned up to it. He didn't need to, but he owned up to it. And I think for the most part, a lot of BYU fans have kind of acknowledged that it's a silly topic, and I think that's been good to see that as well. So, Dylan Curtis, I hope we see him kick some field goals this week, maybe the rest of the season as well. But we'll see what the analytics say this weekend. So, Drew, appreciate you, brother. You've got a podcast. It's a great podcast. We can't promote it, but you do a great job. If you know, essentially.
And you should know. They're fun.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. Sorry I didn't get the memo with the beard and the hat, the backwards hat.
Backwards hat, bro.
I should have known, but I'm still a kid at heart. I'm gonna go get a bowl of cereal probably now, and but I appreciate you guys. This is awesome.
Hey, appreciate you very much, Drew.
All right, man. Guys. Oh,
I love him. He's the man.
Yeah, Drew's a good time. He brings the vibes, the positive vibes each and every time you're around him. So he's a good one. So, man, let's talk this matchup, huh? This Utah-Colorado matchup. What do you make of the Colorado Buffs and what they've essentially accomplished so far this season?
Yeah, you look at team statistics. They're not really strong in any particular area. But you have to ignore some of that. But you also have to acknowledge some of that too, right? So offensively, they've got 24.9 points per game, which is 89th in the country, 14th in the Big 12. 361 yards per game, 95th in the country, 14th in the Big 12. Their rushing attack, 143 yards per game, 84th in the country, 12th in the Big 12. Passing, 218 yards per game, 82nd in the country, 10th in the Big 12. So offensively, they don't really have like a strength that they lean on. And then you flip things over to the other side of the ball, their defense, 23.7 points per game allowed, 64th in the country, 10th in the Big 12, 405 yards per game, 104th in the country, 13th in the Big 12. Rushing, 188 yards per game allowed, 119th in the country, 15th in the Big 12. Passing, 217 yards per game, 61st in the country, 10th in the Big 12. So they're kind of a bottom feeder and everything statistically, but they've got this kid, Caden Salter, who's kind of starting to put it together, got himself a nice win last week against Iowa State, had a nice game, 16 of 25 for 255 yards, a couple touchdowns, and then also padded the stats with 9 rushes for 57 yards. So he's a playmaker who can get things done with both his arms and his legs if he's given that time, and the defense isn't disciplined. When you pressure him, that's where things kind of fall apart for him, and get into that a little bit with the winning recipe. But when he's under pressure, he's 10 for 35 for 28.6%. And if you don't get pressure and he's kept clean, that's where he really thrives. 83 for 108, which is good for 77%. And they have a pretty good offensive line. So it's one of those things, like defensively, Utah should be able to kind of run that ASU game plan and be able to just run the ball. The Big 12 injury report did come out while we're on the show, and Dampier remains as questionable. If Byrd does go out and start, it's one of those spots where they might try to sell on the run and force this true freshman to make mistakes and whatnot. But there's not anything that like jumps out on paper about this Colorado team, but there's a lot of really good talent there. And if you get caught sleeping, or you don't bring your best like Iowa State did, a loss can absolutely happen. And they've had 2 weeks to prepare for this one, so they're going to be rested up. They're going to be motivated. They've had time to probably get sick of watching Utah film, and they're going to come in ready to play.
Yeah, and I think with Caden Salter, he's such an interesting evaluation because there's talent there. He can make some really impressive throws, but it's just the consistency, and it's not at an elite level. Not just his not talking to his consistency and the play-to-play type effectiveness, but just he's got talent. But I think there's a lot of inconsistencies in terms of his reads and his decision making, and that's going to be the most interesting dynamic for me. With 2 weeks to prepare, how different does he look? Because if I'm Colorado, I'm thinking I'm going to come into this and I'm going to have opportunities to, take shots down the field. We know that Utah loves to play man coverage, and Utah's been really effective in man coverage and in making opposing passing attacks inefficient, right? Limiting some of those big play explosives. Started out rough, but like over the last couple games have really kind of rounded into form. They're not perfect by any means, but I think we've seen the sort of progress that we expect from a Utah secondary at that cornerback spots with these guys in man coverage. So what's interesting, and I don't want to dive too much into Caden Salter just yet, but I think that is going to be a fascinating dynamic, is what sort of improvement, what sort of adjustments does Colorado make? They haven't taken they don't attack the field deep down the field a lot. Only 15% of their attempts are deep passes, which is 21 attempts. I think Dampier is right around 18 or something like that. So pretty comparable numbers there. But where Salter is really effective is just in the short game. He struggles in the intermediate, and that's where you kind of see some of the inconsistencies in terms of his ability to execute throws is in that intermediate game, and I think that's a good thing for Utah. So what I've noticed defensively for Colorado, this is a defense that is it's tough. They make you work. They've been in a lot of games, and they've been in some ugly ones. And when you think of Colorado under Coach Prime, last year, right, it was high-powered offense. And this year, I think there's better balance across the board: run, pass, offensively, offense, defense, the ability to defend the run as well. Still, number 15 in the Big 12 in terms of total rushing yards allowed, but there are actually some really strong defensive measures for Colorado stopping the run. So I think this is a team where you kind of mentioned it, but there's some high level talent on this team. It's just a team that also there's some undisciplined. There's not a lot of discipline, consistency down to down. That comes and goes, and I think that's kind of what sums up this Colorado team, is a team that can create big plays, but on a down to down type of examination of them, that's where you see the highs and lows and the mistakes kind of creep in. So this is going to be an interesting matchup in that sense as well, because that's what you expect from Utah, is that play-to-play consistency.
Yeah, and I want to kind of highlight this comment from Colby, Utah man. They're keeping games close, which is huge and important for us to close them out early. You look at the games that Colorado's played in, they lost by 7 against Georgia Tech in game number 1. Georgia Tech's number 7 in the country, sitting undefeated at 7-0 right now. They handled business against Delaware. They lost kind of ugly to Houston, 36-20, handled business against Wyoming, led in good chunks of the game against BYU and ended up losing to them. The same result as the Utah game that just happened on Saturday, 24-21. They had TCU on the ropes before TCU pulled away late. So while that's a 14-point loss, it was a lot closer than that final 14-point deficit. And then they beat Iowa State. So Colorado has absolutely, good call out, Colby. They've hung in a lot of games close, and with a true freshman quarterback and potentially starting in Byrd Ficklin, you'd like to see Utah just get out early and just be able to play its game.
For sure. No, for sure. So let's get to our winning recipe. Just kind of talk about some of the keys that we see in this game. So go ahead and give me your first bullet point in your winning recipe.
Yeah, I'll go. First ingredient here is discipline. Utah shot itself in the foot last week, time and time again. The penalties, the turnovers, the missed blocks, the wrong cuts. Even say maybe some of the analytics, the coaching decisions. It all added up to a 3-point loss against a team who played disciplined, right? So like to see Utah come out, play a disciplined game of football, limit those mistakes, and they're able to do that. I think good things will happen.
Yeah. For me, this is more of an emotional thing and a mindset thing. Is, we've kind of talked about it. Colorado is going to be coming off of a bye week, which means not only does that benefit them in terms of their health, but it also gives them an extra week to prepare for Utah and to kind of exploit weaknesses. So not only does Utah need to come into this prepared for a recharged Buffs squad, but also need to be mindful of a revamped Buffs attack, right? Both offensively and defensively. So not only does Utah need to come out with great energy, and I love the point of emphasis from both you and Drew that, it'd be great to see Utah get off to a strong start, but Utah is going to need to be prepared for additional wrinkles offensively and defensively to make adjustments each and every quarter, maybe each and every drive. I think that's going to be really important. And then defensively, obviously without Lander Barton, it's going to be on others to step up and to bring that energy and leadership. And so I'm looking at Jonathan Hall to kind of step up as that leader for Utah on that side of the ball. Having Levani Demooney, there in the wings waiting to step up as well as Big, having him as a veteran on that defense will be very, very helpful in this situation. But I think it's really important for John Hall to kind of assume the leadership and kind of the spirit and soul of that defensive unit. So that's going to be my key, is Utah needs to be ready for Colorado team coming off of the bye week.
Yep, and then I think that's a great point. With 2 weeks, you have more time to prepare and install some wrinkles and do some things special for this matchup. Utah's one of those opponents that teams circle that game. It's a big game for everybody. So I think that's a great call out. Second ingredient here is pepper Salter. Pepper him with some pressure. I touched on this before. If you can get some pressure on Salter, which isn't going to be easy. They've got some dudes on their offensive line. They don't give up a ton of pressure. But if you can get him to feel uneasy back there, that's where that defensive success will come. If you let him stand back there and let him throw against the man coverage, they've got some wide receivers that can make plays. And while they don't throw the deep ball, Omarion Miller averages 18.6 yards per reception. Joseph Williams wants to commit to Utah and then flip to Colorado. He averages 15.4 yards per reception. Sincere Brown is averaging 22.9 yards per reception. So they're getting some of that short and intermediate stuff. And if you give him time, he's gonna be able to find some lapses in that man coverage, find some guys that got some separation. So I think it's big to just cause some havoc back there, and that'll be one of the ingredients for me.
Yeah. So just to kind of complement, your point, I think the secondary needs to be really impactful in this one. Colorado coming in has the 5th highest pressure rate allowed in the Big 12 at nearly 32% of Caden Salter's dropbacks. He's getting pressured, but this isn't the same sort of Swiss cheese offensive line that we've seen in recent years. John Henry Daly is going to have a really tough matchup with Jordan Seaton, the left tackle for Colorado. He's only allowed 1 pressure all season long. So he's a big body at 6'5", 330 pounds. He was a true freshman last year. Going in, he's a sophomore this year. He's sort of made that same leap that Spencer Fano did last year. And so that's going to be a tough one. So, John Henry Daly, he's going to have his hands full. You still sort of count on him to be effective coming off the edge, but you can't count on it the same way you could in previous games because Seaton is playing such good football right now. So for me, this is going to be about the secondary providing the sort of help to allow the pass rush to get home. So, we talked about it earlier. Utah's made progress in recent weeks in terms of their man coverage and their effectiveness there. And I think this game in particular is going to be really important for Utah to stick to their man coverage principles, because Salter against zone coverage has a QB rating of 110. Against man coverage, that drops all the way down to 74.2. So a significant difference. He turns the ball over at a higher rate. I think he has 3 interceptions against man coverage. Completion percentage comes down. He just struggles to see the windows in man coverage compared to zone coverage, which is pretty common for quarterbacks. So I need to see the defensive secondary be really stingy to allow the pass rush and to allow the pressure to get home and impact Salter in the backfield.
Yeah, and Utah's pass defense, 155 yards per game, which is good for 11th in the country and 3rd in the Big 12. So I know that there were some of those secondary concerns early on in the season. The numbers say that the secondary has been getting the job done as time's moved on. And this weekend, I totally agree with you. That's going to be important.
Yeah. What's your third one?
Third one is to let Byrd fly. If he does indeed get the start, I absolutely expect a heavy dose of the run against Colorado. I'd expect that whether Dampier was starting or whether Byrd was starting. But if Byrd does get the start, want to see this be a moment where he can build some confidence, see him get some trust with the playbook. Let him fly a little. Let him run it. Let him throw it. and let him put some things on tape, get that opportunity to run the offense, and just don't clip his wings, let him fly, and I think that's where the offense will put its best foot forward.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be really interesting because the best way to complement the quarterback game is obviously with the run game and establishing the run, right? So regardless of whether it's Byrd or whether it's Dampier, Utah is going to need to establish the run. And after last week's performance, right, Utah still ran for 220, 230 yards. A lot of that coming with the speed of Daniel Bray getting to the perimeter. And that's going to be important because Colorado, though they've given up 1,300 yards, almost 1,400 yards this season, only less than 500 of those have come between the tackles. So they make it tough on running games. So it's going to be important for Utah to continue to be dynamic and diverse with their rushing attack, to get to the outside, to attack the inside and be opportunistic there, to see the interior offensive line generate more push against this Colorado defensive front, which again, like I said earlier, there are some positive, some encouraging, if you're a Colorado fan, some encouraging numbers in terms of their rush defense. They have the second highest stuff rate at 21%. They also have the second lowest missed tackle rate at 11%. So they do a good job of limiting the damage. It's just the teams that they've played are so committed to the run that's what's led to the total production of the rushing game against Colorado. So I think Utah needs to stay committed to the running game. And with this offensive line and what we've seen, they can generate some big runs outside, inside with the QB. So again, regardless of whether it's Dampier or whether it's Ficklin, and I do know that Dampier is pretty determined to play in this one, but yeah, I think this is important. Regardless of the quarterback, is Utah establishing the run, to see the offensive line respond after last week, in particular, to generate more push, more vertical push in particular against the Colorado team, I think will be really important and really vital to kind of projecting them the rest of the way, the rest of the season. So that's what I've got with my winning recipe. You want to get into some of these rapid fire over-under predictions?
Yeah, and just before we get into those, want to call out chat any questions you have. We've collected a few. If there's any questions you have that you want us to answer, we're going to get into those to wrap up the show. So put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those as we wrap up the show. But for now, let's get into the rapid fire predictions. You want me to start this off, or you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Over or under 240 total rushing yards for Utah?
I'm going to say over because it's a necessity for Utah to go over, in my opinion. So over.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. I think that's going to be there, and that's going to absolutely be an emphasis.
Yeah.
Colorado total rushing yards, over or under 125?
This to me is interesting. So, Colorado, the rushing attack, it's not horrible. It's better than what it was last year, that's for sure. At least they try to run the ball. They attempt 33 rushes per game. And I think a big element to their success is the QB scramble. So that's kind of the wild card here. If Utah is prepared for the QB scramble with Caden Salter, I think of his 270 yards, about 170 of those come off of QB scrambles. So that's going to be the key. If they can limit that, I think they have a really good chance at staying on the under. But I'm gonna say over, but just slightly.
I'm gonna go under. I think Utah stonewall that rushing attack from Colorado, so I go under, but not like under 100 or anything crazy like that.
Yeah.
This next one, Bray had 10 touches last week. You go over or under 10 touches this week for Daniel Bray?
I'm going to go over. Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think they continue to kind of expand his role.
Yeah, and got a comment up here. Change up the run plays with Bray. Teams know he's going to get the ball in the sweeps now. I think that's important. I'm going to go over, and I think they do get him more involved out of the backfield. Maybe maybe put him in the slot to catch some passes, things like that. Just I think the kid's got it. So, get the ball in his hands and see what he can do.
Yeah. I'll get this next one. Byrd Ficklin, over under 250 all-purpose yards.
I'm gonna go over. I think Bird's gonna have himself a day and gonna have people wanting more.
That would be
Dangerous.
an interesting. That would be an interesting dynamic. I'm gonna go under. Again. Dampier's pretty determined to play in this one, but yeah, I think Dampier. I'm gonna go under, and I think it's gonna be a collective effort, regardless. So, other side of the ball, I'll keep going. Caden Salter, over under 250 all-purpose yards.
I'm gonna go over. I think he's gonna be able to eat a little bit out there and get some stuff done. I'd say probably the tune of like 260 yards. I'd say 200 through the air, about 60 on the ground. That feels about right. So I'll go over 250 all-purpose yards.
Yeah, I'll go over as well. I think that's going to be a thing, and I think that sort of gets to the point of making Colorado inefficient. Give up the yards, obviously limit them as best you can, but give them up. But just keep them off the scoreboard. That's going to be the key. So I'll keep it rolling here. I did say under, right? Or I said over. I think I said over on that. Okay. Utah sacks 2.5 over under there.
For as solid as Colorado's offensive line has been, they've also given up 14 sacks. So that 2.5 feels like about their average. I think at home with the crowd, night game, I'm gonna go 3 sacks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over as well. To just again 14, that's about 2 per game, and I think given kind of the atmosphere and what we sort of are envisioning here, I think over is pretty fair. Over under Colorado sacks at 0.5.
I'm gonna go over here. I think Colorado's gonna get home once.
Yeah, I agree. Again, and that sort of speaks to coming off a bye week, doing some different things, adding some wrinkles. I think we see that, and I think Colorado gets home and gets a sack for sure. Utah turnovers, 0.5 over under there.
Utah turning the ball over?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. There's gonna be. I think there will be one. I'll go over here.
I'll go over as well. I'll go over as well. And then Utah takeaways. Do they go over under 0.5?
I'll go over there as well. I think Utah will be good for one.
Yeah, I agree. So over on both of those. And then who scores Utah's first touchdown?
I'm going to go Nakari Rogers.
I'm going to go Wayshawn Parker.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, we're getting into the questions, so we'll save that for a second. Yeah. Let's go on the theme of over-under. First question, fully invested Ute. Over-under 0.5 field goal attempts by Utah in the red zone.
For some reason, I think the analytics are going to say go for a field goal this week. So, I'm going over.
I'm gonna go over as well. Great question, fully invested Ute. And I want to say fully invested Ute was the one that called for the black and red striped stadium, if memory serves correctly. If I'm giving that wrongly credit to you, just take it and run with it.
Is that wit with Gundy's mullet? Is that what that is? Fully invested Ute? I'm impressed.
And he confirmed it is his. We didn't do our score prediction. 35-13
go ahead.
Utah. 35-13
Utah. Ooh, wow. Yeah, I'm gonna go 31-17.
Okay. More questions. This is one everybody wants to talk about. Chosen Ute. Teo Johnson had Bear wrapped up until he didn't. Did he hear a whistle?
I mean, I got to assume he thought it was over, right? He had to have heard something or thought something, right? He had him for a sec, right? It wasn't just that he touched him, he had him wrapped up, and I don't know, had to have been something like that. Yeah, there's no other explanation to me for that. yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's the only thing I can think of there.
Yep.
Uh,
But so getting back to that, right? Like Eric Weddle was on 700 and man, had a lot of great things to say, talking about the details. And I think that's something that Utah needs to really emphasize is a lot of the details across the board, not just like defensively in that moment with Teo, but across the board, details. It's going to be, that's going to be really important this week as well.
yeah. Speaking of the details, this one from D tier: Nickelback or Creed? Who's cooler?
Creed, dude, not even close. Creed. Don't do it. Don't do it, dude.
I'll do it.
Dude, don't do it.
I never made it as a wise man, Steve.
Oh my God.
They got more bangers.
Nickelback?
I'm gonna eat this one for the rest of the night.
So disappointed.
Merriweather in the Big 12 injury report was downgraded to doubtful. So who fills in for Merriweather, assuming he's out this week?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. It could be JJ Buchanan potentially getting more reps there as kind of a big body wide receiver. We could also see Larry Simmons get some more opportunity outside as well. So those are the first two that I look to as guys to fill in for Merriweather if he can't go.
Yeah, any Luca Caldarella maybe?
Maybe spot reps, maybe. But yeah, I'm looking at Buchanan and Simmons.
I think JJ needs more targets. He's just a guy that when it's thrown to him, he finds a way to get to it. He out muscles whoever's on him, and he's got good length. That's who I'd like to see.
Yep.
This one from Big Z. Any reason they wouldn't have Isaac Wilson play with 5 games to play for the rest of the season?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair question, but I think, Jason Beck really loves what they have in Byrd Ficklin. He's talked glowingly of Byrd, and at this point, Byrd Ficklin, you're not really concerned about his red shirt, as Whittingham kind of alluded to a couple weeks ago. And if you feel like he's a guy that you can build with in the future, then that's the guy you roll with.
Yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up as far as questions. Last one would be what from Colby. What can we expect from Dirty Byrd if he does get the nod?
Oh, we'll see. Like he's provided some exciting moments, but I think it's really important to keep in mind the context of what he's done in the situation he was put in. Right, fourth quarter garbage time, opponents worn down. I think we saw that with Will Hammond this last week for Texas Tech. Is how different that looked coming in against Utah versus, Arizona State being prepared for him. So I think let's come into this with the mindset that, just come into it with no expectations of what to see because, Colorado will be as prepared for him as they possibly can be, right? They're not going to go fully into Byrd prep, but but they'll still prepare for Dampier. But I think that's going to be important is to not come into this with any sort of expectations and just allow Byrd to do his thing and figure it out along the way. So there's been some encouraging rumblings this week about Byrd and how he's looked, how he's come into practice this week, and I think that's a good thing. But again, like I've talked about throughout the episode, is Dampier has been pretty determined. He wants to be out there with his guys, and so we know that Utah relies on that leadership and that senior experience. I shouldn't say senior experience, but just experience in general. So we'll see. But yeah, I think keep that in mind with Byrd.
Yeah, I think the big thing is you're definitely going to see a true freshman who's excited and ready for the opportunity. You saw when his number was called to start off first play of the fourth quarter last week, the 16-yard run that wasn't just a running lane. It was he bulldozed his way through a running lane and broke some tackles along the way. So definitely think all the heart will be there. But when the team has a little bit longer to potentially prepare, when you play a full game, the sample size is larger, it's not garbage time, things like that. That's where some of that true freshman stuff might come out. For me, what I'd like to coming out of this game is to feel good about QB2, because without a doubt, Devon Dampier is the guy. And, everybody's excited to talk about the true freshman that it's just a thing, any program you go to, but Devon Dampier is the man. And I'd like to see that thought that, hey, Byrd Ficklin can be too.
Yeah, like that's the thing here is this is such a unique situation because this is clearly Devon Dampier's team. There's no threat of him losing his job this season, but this is an opportunity to potentially get a really good glimpse at what could be the future for Utah at quarterback. Again, like I shared earlier, there's a lot of excitement and a lot of belief in Byrd Ficklin and his future and potential in that quarterback room. And Beck really believes in him and his ability. So I think it's a unique opportunity to kind of get a look at a freshman potentially this week. And that's going to be important for others around him to step up as well.
Yeah.
Well, anything else before we put a bow on this one, Bennett?
No, good episode. Appreciate Drew once again for joining us. Always brings good energy. He's a fun hang. Make sure you check him out on the socials and what him and DB do. Excited for another night at Rice Eccles on Saturday. We'll be back at it for the post game, and
Yeah, no, excited for that one. So appreciate everybody for hopping in. I know it's not the best week coming off of last weekend. I get it. I understand, but I think this is a big opportunity, a big weekend for Utah football. So excited to get up there on Saturday, be up there early, checking out the tailgate scene, and hopefully I get to meet some of you guys. It's been a lot of fun this season being up there and mingling and stuff. So we'll wrap this one up. You've got the Twitter space going up, firing it up here soon as well. So we'll get that going. But for myself, for Bennett, this is the Utah Blockcast signing off.